What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and stimulus news report for Friday, November 20th. Hopefully, you have a wonderful Friday and an incredible weekend. Today, I have both good news and bad news regarding stimulus and where current negotiations are at and what is happening in the economy as we speak. First, we are going to discuss where stimulus negotiations are at and where we think they will go very soon. We also are going to discuss what Republicans and Democrats are leaning towards regarding stimulus. We will discuss the talks of a monthly stimulus check. This is interesting, so we are going to address that as well. We will also address what Joe Biden has planned coming up and who most Americans are blaming right now regarding the lack of stimulus. So first, let's address the good news. The good news is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer stated yesterday, and I quote, "For the first time, we're having some productive conversations in a while because Leader McConnell has now said he will sit down and talk." This is good news. This is really good news that we are getting some productive conversations. But there is a slight problem with this. The problem is these conversations are not with Mitch McConnell. These conversations are actually with Mitch McConnell's staff, his aides, and they go and talk to Mitch McConnell. So, have you ever played that game Telephone where one person says something or says one thing to one person, they say it to the next and the next and next, and it goes down the line? This is kind of what is going to happen. This is exactly what happened when Nancy Pelosi negotiated with Steve Mnuchin. Steve Mnuchin would go and talk to President Trump, and President Trump would address and talk to Mitch McConnell. Well, it kind of lost its, what happened. It wasn't as effective. So things will get lost in translation when it gets passed from one person to the next. Well, this is probably what's going to happen, but we will see over the next week. Mitch McConnell has told the Senate, though, to pack up and go home for Thanksgiving. This means they have packed up 2 days early. They packed up yesterday. Mitch McConnell told them, go home, go celebrate Thanksgiving, go home. We're done this week. 2 days early. 2 days. This means that they could have used these 2 additional days to address stimulus talks. They didn't do anything. They went home. At the same time, Nancy Pelosi sent the House home for Thanksgiving as well. Could you imagine that? Not only does the Senate go home, the House of Representatives is sent home as well. Again, 2 days early. But the weird thing about this is the House of Representatives just got back to Washington on Monday. They just got back on Monday. So they had 3 days worth of work, then they went home. And so over the last month, they are only going to work 3 days. In November, actually they'll work 4 days because they'll come back on November 30th, work an additional day. So total in November, 4 days. 4 days of work. Congress must make this a priority. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy said yesterday, I quote, "Speaker Pelosi's approach that nothing is better than something is wrong. And everybody knows it, and the American people have paid the price for it. And now Democrats are clamoring to go home for the rest of the year. That's a disgrace." But to be fair, Mitch McConnell is doing absolutely nothing as well. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer had this to say about Mitch McConnell yesterday. The only one who has refused to lift a finger on COVID relief, even refusing to take part in negotiations, has been Senator McConnell. That's true. Mitch McConnell has not done much with negotiations. He actually outsourced that to Steve Mnuchin and the Trump administration. To be honest, there needs to be a new strategy. This isn't just coming from me, this is coming from many people in government positions, that we need new negotiators. We need new people to step in and lead us. So, right now, many Democrats and Republicans are saying that the leaders should give the minority leaders a chance to negotiate. This means let Kevin McCarthy from the House, let him and Chuck Schumer work out a deal. And if both Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell do not like the deal that they come up with, their agreement, then we can go back to the drawing board and try again. There's really no harm in letting Kevin McCarthy and Chuck Schumer have their hand at this negotiation. So, let it happen. Well, we'll see if that happens, but my guess is no, it won't. They're actually just going to let all the staffers and the aides try to work things out until they can come back to the table and get them a little bit closer. Yesterday, it was reported that the aides, like I just mentioned, representing Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Kevin McCarthy all held meetings to discuss COVID relief and the $1.4 trillion government spending bill. It is also being reported that the talks were mostly around the $1.4 trillion government spending bill that needs to be finalized and approved before December 11th, or else risk the government shutting down. Currently, both parties are outlining where they stand and where they need the other party to ultimately come to regarding stimulus negotiations. That's currently what's going on. But if you remember, if you watched my videos about 3 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago now, that both parties, Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin, stated that, and this is something that was also reported by many media outlets as well, is that they were having their staff work out the details of certain pieces of legislation. Well, as of right now, it seems like that's exactly what all the leaders are doing, sending their staff, their aides, to go in and work out a deal, get them closer together before they ultimately come in and finalize the deal. Well, if this was already done 3 weeks ago, why are we doing it again? It's making no sense. And what makes me so irritated by this report is that nobody seems to understand how important another round of stimulus is to small businesses, to the working families, and those that are currently on unemployment, and who will lose all their unemployment benefits coming up in the next month and a half. Currently, Congress is on recess until November 30th. At this point, on November 30th, they will have 10 working days to pass a $1.4 trillion government spending bill before the government shutdown begins on December 12th. Reports indicate that if there is no deal, there will be roughly 1 million Americans, 1 million government employees that will be out of work starting Saturday, December 12th. That's going to be a great way to celebrate Christmas and celebrate the holidays. Is, hey, I don't have a job. Great. However, at the same time, we have people like White House economic advisor Stephen Moore, who is saying things like this, and I quote, "I don't see Republicans budging on the blue state bailout, and the economy is doing fine. Much better than anyone expected. We think the economy is strong because Trump didn't go along with a deal." However, Stephen Moore must live on fantasy land or fantasy island or something like that, because right now the economy is not doing fine. Yes, the stock market is doing fine. Great. The unemployment numbers are dropping. The unemployment rate is dropping. Wonderful. But there are still millions of jobs out there that will never come back. There are many current underlying financial conditions as well. And once these hit, we are going to be in a world of hurt. Reports indicate that people are simply burning through savings and selling some of their assets. And I'm not talking about houses and cars. I'm talking about things like, oh, I have my wedding ring. I'm going to go and sell it. I'm going to pawn that for pennies to the dollar just because I need some money to pay my bills. I'm going to go sell my computer because I need some money to go pay my bills. People are selling computers for very low amounts, for probably less than they paid for them, simply because they need some type of large chunk sum to go and pay their rent, go and pay their car payments, go and put food on the table. This is what we're seeing. This is what I'm seeing locally. Let me know as well. Have you heard of anybody where you live that's currently selling something so that they can pay their rent, their mortgage, their car payment, a credit card bill? I guarantee you there will be at least one person in the comment section below that says yes. Either they have done it or they know somebody that has, because that's currently what's happening. Also, credit card spending has been up for months. So Stephen Moore saying the economy's doing fine. Well, yeah, the economy's doing wonderful because all these people are charging to their credit cards. This card's maxed out. Well, let me use this one. My Capital One's maxed out. Let me use this Citi card or this American Express or this, Platinum Chase Platinum card. Let me just try whatever. You're gonna max out every one of your cards, and then what happens once every single card is maxed out? What happens when states begin to shut down once again? What happens when people lose their unemployment benefits and cannot pay off these debts? What happens? The economy is going to feel it all then. Trust me, that's exactly what's going to happen. This is why more and more Democrats and a couple of Republicans have pushed for monthly stimulus checks. Monthly stimulus checks. They're saying right now a $1,200 stimulus check is laughable. What is a $1,200 stimulus check actually going to do? Who's it going to benefit? $1,200. We got a $1,200 stimulus check back in April. So we didn't get anything in May. So we had April, we had May, June, July, August, September, October. We're in November. 7 months. 7 months without any additional stimulus other than unemployment and some little things like that. But where's that $1,200 stimulus check now? Where was it in August, September, October? Where was it? Right now, the main person that has really pushed for a larger monthly stimulus check is Kamala Harris, the VP, the potential VP. Okay, I don't want to say VP yet, or Vice President-elect. She isn't there yet, but all projections say it's going to be Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So right now, she is one of the biggest advocates for a monthly stimulus check. And she's advocating for $2,000 per month. Now, would that be a $2,000 per month retroactive stimulus check? I highly doubt it at this point when we are 7 months past the last one. That would mean every single person. And at this time, this is November. So that would be 8 months would be December, 9 months would be January, 10 months would be February. So every single person would get a $20,000 check. That's highly unlikely. Okay, that would be incredible. It would be great for a lot of people, but it also probably would never happen. So could Kamala Harris get Joe Biden to agree to something like a $2,000 stimulus check, maybe for a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months if you're pushing it? Yes, it's possible, but without a Democratic Senate, it would never happen. Republicans would never go for this. $2,000 per month would be great. Most people do not make $2,000 per month. Many people, when you look, depending on the city you live in, the state you live in, I understand some states you get paid a little bit more. Here in Washington State, I believe we have one of the highest hourly wages, which is great. But there's some cities, some states that they don't have a $14, $15 hourly wage. It's understandable. I think we're like 13 something. But I don't get paid hourly, so I don't know exactly, but I think we're at like 13 something. But what you need to understand is many states don't have such a high hourly wage. So $2,000 per month, $2,000 even a single time is a lot of money. It would take them very far. It could pay for rent, could pay for some of these late payments that they haven't been able to make. It could pay for a lot of things. And even put some more money, restock their savings account. That would be wonderful. That is what we need. But Republicans will never go for this. And yes, Republicans will never budge on a blue state bailout. But what about those red states that need help too? What about those businesses within the walls of the blue states that are struggling due to the lack of COVID relief and due to the lack of customers? There's no revenue. There's nothing there. What about them? This is what many people are wondering. Why are Republicans just looking at, this is a blue state bailout? Well, if it's a blue state bailout, put something in the legislation where we cannot just bail out your pensions. We can't do that. There's going to be a law, there's going to be rules, there's going to be restrictions on how that money is spent. If that money is not spent properly, well, that's when you go after the states, get the money back. Now, this statement that Stephen Moore made might be the way he sees things in his eyes. But that is not the way that most Americans feel right now. Now, whether you like this or not, at least Joe Biden has a plan. I just wanted to say this because right now, over the past week or so, Joe Biden has made multiple public, statements, done multiple interviews, press conferences, and he has talked about his plan, his stimulus plan, his economic plan, his COVID relief plan, whether it's for testing, tracing, treatments, or stimulus and financial relief. He's talked about it all. Now, I'm not for Joe Biden. I'm not against Joe Biden. I'm not for President Trump. I'm not against President Trump. But, and again, Joe Biden's plan might not be the best plan, but at least it's something. At least it's something to give the American people and tell them, hey, this is what we currently have going on. This is where we stand. Now, I wish we could all hear from President Trump and get his take and let him address his plan. But as of right now, he's nowhere to be found. He's pretty much locked in the White House. Or he's, going golfing or doing other things, and I get it. But it would be comforting as an American to hear our leader speak as to what is his plan. That's just my take. And let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Would you like to hear President Trump speak? Does he speak and you're like, oh, he's lying? Or does he speak and you're like, oh, okay. I feel better because now I know what's going on, where he stands on everything that's happening. Because currently, whether I like Joe Biden or President Trump, or I dislike both of them, currently for me, as an American, as somebody that's living in this country, I would like to hear the President of the United States, the leader, our current leader, speak. Just want to know what he has to say. Now, whether you think he's lying or not, that's just irrelevant, but I would like to hear him speak. So, Joe Biden does have a lot of things he wants to accomplish moving forward. However, many of these things are going to be blocked and made very difficult to pass with a Republican Senate. This is why getting a stimulus package passed under our current Republican president and current Republican Senate would be ideal for Nancy Pelosi and Democrats, even for Joe Biden. But what we know is Nancy Pelosi and many Democrats are not really for and do not really support a stimulus package now prior to the January 5th Georgia Senate runoff, because they are expecting to win both Senate races in Georgia. And if they do, then Democrats would hold the majority in the Senate come January 6th, one day later. So, right now, that's what many reports are indicating, is that Nancy Pelosi wants to hold off on passing any stimulus package, which, as of right now, it's mostly the two people that are really fighting for stimulus. Okay? It's not Nancy Pelosi. It's not Mitch McConnell. Joe Biden is pretty much fighting for stimulus, saying we need it now. But if you remember, he was part of the Obama administration that came in and had to handle the financial crisis of 2008. So he's kind of been there. He understands what it actually takes. He came in, I believe it was 2009. And so he understands what it takes to get through this. And back in 2008, 2009, the government didn't do a great job at getting through this financial crisis. They got us through it, but it took us a few years. So, right now, it isn't Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell. It's Joe Biden. He's the main one that's advocating for stimulus. Even Chuck Schumer is saying we need stimulus. Even Kevin McCarthy is saying we need stimulus. But our two leaders, they're like, oh yeah, we need to pass the additional stimulus package. We need to provide for the American people. We need to get money into the pockets of our American families and American workers. We need to provide our heroes with some relief. Well, where's all that funding? Where's that relief? It's not coming. at least not today. Today, we know that Joe Biden will meet with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer in person. This will be their first time meeting in person since the election. So at least that's good. They are going to meet. Based on reports, they have been speaking over the phone. So that's great. But this will be their first in-person meeting. It is also being reported that this meeting will be to discuss how they should move forward with stimulus, how they should move forward with transfer of power, and how they should move forward with possible executive orders on day one, starting January 21st. Based on what Joe Biden has stated recently, we should expect a nationwide mask mandate come January 21st. I live in Washington State. Washington State has had a mask mandate for months. So it would be nothing new for me. Every time I go out, put on my mask. Or I put on multiple masks. I did a video, I think last week, talking about how I put on masks. What mask I wear. If I wear a double mask, if I wear an N95 plus, a cloth mask, if I go and get something bigger, like there's a P100 out there that works really well. I don't really use that to go out to like a store or something, but let's say if I were to go out on Black Friday, I would put on something called a P100. 3M makes it, and it's an incredible mask. I think right now they're like $180, but it's worth the money. Now, we should also expect student loans to be forgiven for up to $50,000 per borrower, but it will most likely be only $10,000 per borrower. And anything that can be forgiven for student loans, for federally backed student loans, would be great. Also expect Joe Biden to offer free COVID testing to all. And this is most likely going to start in larger cities and kind of work its way outward. So if you live in a larger city or near one, there will most likely be a free COVID testing facility or site that people could drive through, get tested, and then they'll get called with their results. That will be great, and it will be free. Also, expect Joe Biden to once again extend the eviction moratorium if Congress doesn't do this themselves. Right now, this is one of the fiscal cliffs we are approaching come December 31st, is that eviction moratorium through the CDC. That expires on December 31st. The end of the day on December 31st is when that expires. January 1st, 2021. New Year's, woohoo! It's not going to be a great time. This is going to be a critical point for the U.S. economy. So, we will see what happens, but hopefully we don't get to that point. Hopefully, Congress steps up and provides some type of stimulus. What we know is that Nancy Pelosi is doing the negotiating for Joe Biden right now. Nancy Pelosi has not been out there publicly every single day talking about, yes, we're fighting for stimulus, this is where we're at, it's all Republicans' fault, they're doing this and they're doing that. Where's she at? She's pretty much been missing. She's already on vacation. She's crazy. But this is why many people are saying that stimulus negotiations and talks are slowing down, because Nancy Pelosi is doing the negotiating, doing the bidding for Joe Biden. He has other stuff he's currently working on, but Nancy Pelosi is reportedly going to him at every turn, saying, okay, this is where we're at, this is what we're fighting for, do you agree, do you disagree? Well, hopefully we'll know more today, being that they are supposedly having an in-person discussion. Since President Trump is still contesting the election, right now nobody knows how civil this transfer of power is ultimately going to be over the next couple months. So because of that, this is one of the reasons why Nancy Pelosi is doing the negotiating for Joe Biden. Because right now, who knows if Joe Biden will be in power on January 21st, 2021. That's what everybody expects. That's how every president, every transfer has worked out. Come January 21st at noon, Joe Biden, or January 20th, I believe, at noon, Joe Biden will be inaugurated. Well, we'll see if that happens. So as always, we're in another wait and see phase, which I know you don't like, but that's currently where we're at. Now, in other news, the United States reported 187,396 new COVID cases yesterday. Yesterday on November 18th, this is what we saw, or November 19th, excuse me. this is how many cases we saw. That is crazy. That is a new record. That is a new record. And what I'm here to tell you is Friday, the numbers on Friday, which will not come out until later on today from Johns Hopkins University, those numbers are expected to be in the 190s, if not top 200,000 cases today. So tomorrow when I do a stimulus update, tomorrow morning when I give you that update, I'm hoping it will not be new COVID record, breaking news. That would be, that's horrible news. But that is what many people are expecting. Also, it was reported that we had 1,962 deaths. We also have now eclipsed 80,000 hospitalizations, and medical centers all across the country are almost at capacity in multiple locations. This is not great news. The good news, though, is today, Pfizer is supposed to file for the FDA emergency use authorization, and Moderna is expected to file as soon as next week. And as soon as this vaccine is available, the White House has stated they will begin sending out the vaccines to Americans within 24 hours of receiving the vaccines. So within 24 hours, Americans can start getting that vaccine. And they should be able to send out about 100 million vials of this vaccine, which should vaccinate 50 million Americans. So if this can happen, this will be a game changer for stimulus, the economy, and the lives of the American people, as long as the vaccine is deemed safe and the American people go and get it. California is implementing a curfew for all non-essential work and gatherings. This will run for 4 weeks and begin tomorrow on Saturday, November 21st. This curfew will be from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. each day. NBC News is also reporting that the poverty rate is currently spiking since after the $600 per week unemployment boost ended. And experts predict the spike will see a secondary spike on top of the first spike once the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program expires on December 26th. This is when roughly 7.2 million Americans will lose all benefits. So that is what we know right now, and as always, as I know more, I promise I will share more. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing so I can keep you updated, and I'll see you guys on the next one.